Hi guys, welcome back. Today we'll be taking a look at some of the Hong Kong stocks. Before we begin, remember to take a second to give the video a like and subscribe as you greatly help our channel. Without further ado, let's first start off with the Hang Seng Index. So the Hang Seng Index, after hitting this particular baseline here, at this red color baseline, you can see that there was some resistance and we actually did not clear this red baseline. If you zoom in closer, you can see that on 1, 2, 3 days, we actually touch it, but we are unable to clear above this red strong resistance. At the same time, this 23.6% or the next resistance in line near the 20,000 psychological resistance was also not broken through. So that's put us in a very good position to actually retest this 19189 low on this recent low on 24th of August. And in the event that we do not hold it, there's a very good chance for us to potentially heading back towards 18.2K if the 19K psychological support were to break down. As for the resistance to watch, the first resistance will be here at around 19.6K and the second resistance will be 19.9K. Moving on to the next particular stock, the Hang Seng Tech Index. So the Hang Seng Tech Index, as you can see, is slightly stronger, or in other words, is also consolidating at the 23.6% at 4082. If we were to break down the 4,000 psychological support and also this 4082 support, it puts us in a very good position to actually return to this recent low of 3755 on this particular day sometime in May. As for the resistance, it will be around this blue conversion line at 4185 and 4287. Let's move on to Tencent. So for Tencent, you can see that this previous support here, which was pretty strong, has now turned into resistance. So it will take time for us to actually recover and to see the next resistance being tested at this 30.2% at 333 levels. You can see that we were rejected off a couple of days here. So in the event you can punch up next week, then 347 and 361 is the next two resistance to watch. As for the support, we'll be looking at 321 and the second support to watch will be at 311. In the event that this were to break down, this is likely for us to put back into a position of 288 in the event the $300 psychological support were to break down. Let's move on to 9988 or Alibaba. So for Alibaba, we are consolidating at this 23.6% at 965. It seems like if we were to break down this low here, which was sometime in on just 2 weeks ago, 24th August, we're hovering in low at 85.50. So if you were to break down this 85.50 once again, you are likely to go back to the recent low of around the $80 psychological support of 79.65 to precise. If you can punch up above this 95 resistance and even the $100 psychological resistance, then that will be good for Alibaba moving ahead. Next up, we have Meituan. So for Meituan, we still see some good cloud support here, and we seem to be consolidating sideways. As of now, we are hovering around this 50%, $170 dollar support level. If you were to break down, then 161 and 150 would be the next two support in line. As for the resistance to a breakthrough, it will be around 190 zone. You can see that the past 3 days, we actually tried to test it. Moving on to NetEase or 9999. So for 9999 and NetEase, we are hovering around this 50% Fibonacci resistance. If you can punch up, then it will study for us to put us in a very good position to actually clear this 150 psychological resistance ahead. As of now, the support to watch will be 133 levels. We was being supported once and twice. Hopefully, we do not break down next week. If you were to break down further, then 123 may be tested. Moving on to NIO. So for NIO, it seems to be breaking down the cloud. You can see that it broke down once, twice, and this time maybe breaking down once again. And we have to be careful that we may break down and start creating new lows if this 138.4 and this 30.2% were to break down. The next support in line will be the $130 psychological support before heading towards this last support at 23.6 at 124 levels. As for the resistance to watch, will be around 151, 152. Not forgetting on the way up, the cloud will also act as a resistance. Likewise, when the cloud came down, it acted as a strong support. Let's move on to 9618. So 9618 JD. So for JD, we are hovering around 61.8%. It seems to be consolidating well for now. The support to watch will be 232 and also around 230 zone at this red baseline and this blue conversion line. If you were to break down that support, then 222 or even 210 would be tested. For the next resistance to clear will be 256 and potentially heading back towards 275. Next up, we have 9888 or Baidu. So for Baidu, we are very similar to JD. We are also hovering around 61.8%. As for the support to watch would be around 136, 137 at this blue conversion line and coincides with this 61.8%. You can see that this 78.6% and 140, 44 levels, we found some great resistance and pull back down. And hopefully we can continue to trend up for us to retest this 155 levels next week. In the event that 136 would break down, then 130 and 123 is the next two support in line. Moving on to AIA Group Limited or 1299. So 1299 is pretty bearish. You can see that after closing this gap, we actually found some strong rebound and we actually rejected off this cloud resistance and came back down once again. So it's likely for us to already started breaking down this 23.6% and 75.15. So very good, put us in a very good position to actually break down next week towards this 71.60 or even potentially $70 psychological support next week for AIA. As for the resistance, it will be around $76. If we can clear it, then that will be a good thing. Then there will be a next resistance in line at around $79 to $80. Next up, we have PingAn Insurance. So for PingAn Insurance, a very similar situation to Tencent. You can see that this previous support here was well supported, and now it has turned into previous support turning into next resistance or new resistance. So you can see it's 30.2% for 725 is unable to break through. So this will be our next resistance to watch. If you can break up, then we're looking towards this 4870 where there is actually more cloud resistance for us to pierce through. Key resistance to watch will actually be this $50 psychological resistance. If we can clear it, then that puts us in a very good position to actually climb up further towards this next support at next resistance at 78.6. However, we have to take note that this blue conversion line and red baseline cannot break down. If we were to break down, then things will start to turn ugly, and the current support now is around $44 and to $45. If 44 and $45 were to break down once again, then it put us in a very good position to actually go back to retest this 42, 20, 55 levels. Lastly, we have Xiaomi Corporation or 1810. So for 1810, you can see that this 23.6% at 1130 is really not holding. So there's a very good chance for us to actually go back to this 1030, which was this previous low here. And hopefully we can get a double bottom and continue to trend up from here. If not, things will start to turn ugly. We may even break down this $10 psychological support level for Xiaomi. So overall, you can see that most of the Hong Kong stocks are actually pretty bearish. And in the event that we do not see a strong rebound next week to retest the cloud resistance, then puts us in a very good position to actually create the lower lows. And hopefully we do not see that happening. So if there's any changes, I'll give you guys an update. Thanks for stopping by. Till we meet again, appreciate the manipulation.